Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Everyday Heroes podcast. Today, I am going to be speaking to you on an impromptu chat. Now, I wanted to talk to you about coaching and the importance of coaching and why coaching is so brilliant and so powerful and so wonderful. But sometimes we get caught in the I don't have enough time, I don't have enough energy, I don't have the resources or the capacity on how to do that. And so I wanted to break it down for you today to really go through why coaching is so important for you, especially as a mum of an autistic child. So let's go through it. I've written myself some notes. So if you see me looking down, that is why. So first of all, I get it. That is the first and foremost. If you are a mum of an autistic child, when you are speaking to someone, you want to be able to talk to them like they understand the journey. I went through and saw so many psychologists in the beginning and was talking to them about what was going on, and they just couldn't quite get it. And they were well-meaning, they were lovely, they were so kind and generous, but they didn't truly understand what it meant to walk this journey. They couldn't get it because they couldn't be able to walk this life, this feeling that you are always second guessing yourself, this situation where you feel like you don't know which way is up and which way is down and where to go next. And that can be a really frightening, specific situation to be in, because where do you go? How do you do it? And that's not to say that all psychologists are the same. I am not saying that at all, but I am saying that it's so important for you to understand why coaching is different and why coaching is different to psychology, because we're not the same thing. So let's get into it. Yes, I have an autistic child. Yes, I know the journey. Yes, I know the sleepless nights and the worry and the concern and the overthinking and the catastrophizing that comes with raising an autistic child. Now, I want to firstly point out one big thing. Coaching isn't more work, right? Coaching isn't something where you're going to be like, here we go again. I'm going to have to sit down and I'm going to have to go through this, and it's going to be annoying, and I'm not going to know what, all the things that might come up in your head. And this chair is coming down. And so it's not that. Coaching is something that can really fill your cup. Coaching is something that you can sit through and you can process, have the space to be able to process those emotions, and then have the tools and the strategies on how to move forward, right? It's not a space to, if you think that I'm going to be giving you homework and you're going to have to really think about this, and that you don't have the capacity to be able to fill up more. I don't have anything left to give. I don't have anything in the tank to be like, to work on myself. But the problem, and this is the thing that I challenge you on, if you are not looking, I know I've said this time and time again, and I will continue to say it time and time again. If you are not looking after yourself, I can bet your bottom dollar you are not going to be able to look after your child or your typical children. You're not going to look after your autistic child or your autistic children or your typical children. It is so difficult to manage that mindset. That is why when you are a mum of a newborn baby, that your mindset is just shot. Not only are you like sleep deprived, but you can't get a handle on the fact that you just can't pick up your bag and just walk out the door. You have to be able to know that you've got the nappy bag with all the bits and pieces in there so that you can go and you can make sure that you're covered, right? It is the same analogy with coaching. I'm going to be making sure that you have got all of your pit stops covered so that you can show up to be the best mum possible, right? I'm going to be the one reminding you of the things of what's important and what the distractions that need to be left behind, right? What do you need to leave behind? What can you let go of? Who is serving you and who's not serving you? And how can we show up better as mums? Because far too often we either stay in friendships that are not serving us, we stay in our thought looping, which also doesn't serve us. We over catastrophize, which means that we are looking into the future and saying, well, what if Johnny never talks? And what if Johnny never gets married? And what if Johnny never gets a job? Right? What do those things look like? And so I really want to take a space and just let you unload, but also give you tools and strategies and I look through a different lens that says this is just as beautiful. Now, it's practical in a way that we can talk. And I know far too many clients who have all of these thoughts ruminating in their brains, but they can't sit down and have that conversation with their husband or their partner for fear of judgment, for fear of backlash, for fear of not sure how they're going to react. So coaching is a safe space for you to be able to run those ideas through someone else where there is zero judgment, where there is zero feelings of that we're going to be thinking in a certain way, that we're going to be thinking that this is right or wrong. Going back to the judgment piece, there is zero judgment. Having a space to be able to run ideas through is so important. It's so important because it gets our clarity right. It gets our questioning, our reasoning up here so much right. And so when we don't have that, when we don't have that avenue, when we don't have that outlet to be able to chat to somebody and be like, this is what I'm thinking, let's really hash it out. Is this the right thing? Do we have a better way of moving forward? How can I better support my child? How do I better support myself? How do I better sleep? How do I know that I'm on the right track? Right? And so we can really mesh and really hash out those ideas together so that you can get to the best point forward. Because far too often, mums, I see it time and time again, we sit there and we start thinking, and then we're like, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that? And we never actually get anywhere, right? And then it just gets to the to-do list, and we keep getting added to the list that just never, ever ends. And so we're just there always thinking that we can do better. The other thing I would say is coaching is brilliant for cutting out and cutting through the noise, right? There is so much stuff happening. If I was to bring any mum on this podcast right now and say, tell me your to-do list, tell me what's going on, tell me what you are dealing with, the list would be, it would be ginormous, right? It would be so big. What I'm saying to you is, how about we just take a moment and say, let's cut out what the distractions, right? What's truly needed and what's a nice to have. And let's see how we can free up some of that time. Let's see what's really benefiting Johnny and what's really benefiting you. Because if it's not benefiting you, I can tell you right now, it's not benefiting Johnny either, right? Your stress levels will be taken over by his empathy. His nervous system is picking up on your stress levels. So I want you to recognize that, and I want you to know that that is something that we really need to address as well. So then I would say is, you're not alone. Oh my gosh, you're not alone. You're not alone. Please don't do this journey alone. I tried. I have said this so many times on the podcast. I've said it on blogs. I tried to walk it alone for 4 years. I walked that in full sense of shame and blame, and it got me nowhere. It actually dug my hole even deeper, if I'm being truthfully honest. It dug my hole so deep that it was an absolute epic effort to climb out of. Don't waste so many years and so many tears on doing it alone where you feel like you don't have the support. And for some of us who are listening to this right now, don't have that support. They don't have the backbone, the community, that sense of safety someone that they can talk to and truly talk to. Because as much as we love our friends with neurotypical children, they don't quite get it. And we don't love them less for it, but they just don't quite understand our journey. And so having someone who's walked through the journey can totally sympathize and cut out the noise and see where we're going to move forward. The next thing is, coaching is brilliant for building your confidence, right? I wouldn't expect you to walk into a gym and be like, hey, bro, I want a 6-pack. I'm going to do 1 session and I'm done. I'm good to go. That's not how it works. Although, P.S., I wish it would, because I would really like a set of 6-packs, but just letting the universe know. But it's not how it works. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes consistency for you to be able to come back again and again to be able to make sure that you are putting in the reps so that you can see the results. I wish I could say to you that I've got the magic formula and it's this and this and this. And if you do all of these in the right direction, poof, all of your stress will be gone and everything will be amazing. It doesn't work like that. But I do wish it would, because I'd love to put myself out of a job. I'd love to be able to be like, no, you don't need me. But the reality is mums are doing it so hard by themselves and they need more. They need more than they're given. Because as we know as mums, you walk out of your pediatrician's office, your speech therapy office, your OT office, whoever you're seeing, your therapist, and you'll stack a stack of information like this for your child. But what are you given? Like I'm genuinely asking, what as a parent are you given information for your well-being, for your ability to show up as a parent? What are you given? Because I can tell you on my journey, I was given zilch, nada, nothing. It was, here's all the stuff that we need to give to my child, and you've just got to get on with it. Well, I've never done this before, and I don't know about you, but whenever you've started a new job, generally you get training in it, right? I feel like even when you give birth to a baby, you go to those like prenatal classes and you get to see, okay, well, this is how big everything's going to get, and this is how hard it's going to be, and this is roughly how long it's going to go for, and this is what breastfeeding feels like, and blah, blah, blah. We don't get any training. As parents of autistic children, we don't get the training that we need. So then how do we then show up? If you have got zero training, how are you supposed to understand and not only regulate your nervous system, but be able to then manage something that feels impossible? How do you manage your child if you don't know what the triggers are, if you don't understand what his or her meltdowns are, if you don't understand how to move forward, if you don't understand which way is up? How do you possibly train for that? And that's where I'll step in and be like, yes, let's chat. Let's have a discussion. Because I can tell you right now, knowing that someone is in your corner is powerful. It's powerful beyond measure, because for the first time in a long time, mums will say to me, I don't feel so alone anymore and I don't feel so scared. And I know that I've got you in my back pocket and I can totally reach out and be like, yes, I want to do this with you because I don't want to be scared anymore. I'm sick and tired of being stressed out. I'm sick and tired of being overwhelmed, and I'm over being exhausted. If I'm being truthfully honest, being exhausted beyond measure, because we're human and we can only take so much before we break. And rest assured, we will break. We might not break at the first bend. We might not break at the 100th bend, but eventually mums who are going through it will eventually break. And we need them in our society. We need the backbone of our beautiful community to be able to say, yes, we need you to show up so that you can look after your child. We need you to show up so that you can process the information that is given to you by therapists so that you can implement it at home. Because no one else is going to. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming in on a white horse coming to save the day. You are the only person in your child's life that is going to give a damn. And by golly, if I could swear, I would. I'm telling you, you will give more to your child than anyone else I know. But you can't do it from an empty cup. You cannot do it when you are struggling to just get out of bed. You can't do it if the lens that you are looking through is so bleak and grim that you can't imagine another future. And that was me for a really, really long time. I used to think that for such a long time. Don't think that you can't reimagine a better future for your child, because it can be done. It can be done. And I have living proof of it. I don't want these children to suffer. They have gone through enough. And you know what they need? More than anything in this world, more than therapy, more than money, more than anything else, They need their mum. They need their mum to be able to show up and say, I love you, without yelling and screaming and being dysregulated themselves. They need them to be able to be there and be present, to be able to take on what they need, to give them what they need. They can't do it if you are not showing up. You're not showing up because you're not coping and you're not managing. The other thing I love about coaching is, and I'm selfish, it's for me. It's just for me, something just for me. There were so many times in my journey where I was like, it was always for my children. It was always for my autistic child. Therapy appointments, this, that, the other, whatever. When was it time for me? I'm tired. I need something for me too. Where is my space to be able to talk to somebody? Where is my turn to be able to lay all of my worries and my concerns down to somebody and for them to go, it's okay, and we are going to tackle these one thing at a time. That's what I was missing. I was missing that space that was selfish just for me, just so that I could say, I need this in order to run this game, in order to run this life. I need 30 minutes, an hour of being able to show up with someone so that they can hear me and truly see what I'm going through. That's what I needed. But I can tell you, I can tell you a list of things as to what will happen if you don't go through coaching. And these are some of the things that, and I'm going to read them out because I wrote them down. So staying stuck in your overwhelm, okay? Losing precious time. Oh my God, for losing precious time. Prolonging the guilt and the self-doubt, feeling so isolated and alone and feeling like no one else gets it. Missing practical and tailored strategies, tips and tools and hacks just for you that are tailored specifically to you and your family, not just a broad range. This is for everybody and you should try it and maybe it'll work and maybe it won't. This is specifically for you. And the biggest one, which I see more often than not, is the burnout. The burnout that most parents, most mums will go through, where they feel like they have nothing left to give. And you know why I say that? Ding, 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 been there, done that, right? And not just once. I wish I could say it was just once. Lord have mercy. No, I have been through burnout multiple times because the sheer weight of what is expected from us is a lot. It is a lot. And so sometimes I wouldn't, and also, can I just point out one big thing? You're expected to do essentially what a CEO does, right? In terms of stress levels, we're going to put you in a CEO position. You're going to be working day and night and you're not getting paid nothing. We're expecting you to do this for free, okay? Don't think you're getting annual leave. Don't think you've got sick leave. Don't even think that you've got some sort of time to do like PD, professional development. No. You're required here 24/7. No pay. What? If someone said that to you in a job and you're like, can you work these hours, but we're not actually paying you, you would laugh at them and walk away. But this is what mums face every single day. Every single day we are expected to wake up and grind and make sure that we know that we're in the hustle and we need to make sure that we're covering everything so that we can get through it, so that our children can get through it. Ladies, please hear me when I say this. You can do it by yourself if you want to, but why would you want to? Why would you want to even try to do it alone? Everything is better in community. Everything is better when you have someone in your corner barracking for you, knowing that they have got you every step of the way. It's a tough journey. It is. I recently did a disability expo on the weekend and it was glorious and I loved every single part of it. But the amount of mums that came up to my stand who looked exhausted and frazzled and just purely had nothing left. And I just wanted to reach over the table and give them a big cuddle and be like, it's going to be okay. We will get through this together. I think back to when I was back in the early days. And I often say to my husband, if I could just take me now and take the version of her and put her back to where we were first going through the diagnosis. I wish I had this knowledge. I wish I had this power, this understanding that it's going to be okay. This knowing that we will get through this together. But like I said to you, I dug a very deep, dark hole for myself. And I lived in fear and shame and blame and uncertainty for a very long time, longer than I wish I had of. I don't want that for you. And I know that there are mums out there listening to this thinking, is she in my brain? Does she know what I'm thinking? Know that you are not alone, that us mums, we are fighting this every single day, and you don't have to do this alone. So before I wrap up the podcast, the episode, if this is resonating with you, if this is something that you feel like this podcast was meant and recorded just for you, please reach out. Please book in an introduction call. It's free. There's no strings attached. It's a 30-minute chat that we can literally just have a chat and see where you're at. Because why do we need no training? Why do we need no guidance, no mentorship when we're trying to run the most stressful life humanly possibly imagined? Why would we do that? We wouldn't expect it in any other role. So why do we expect that we wouldn't get training in this particular area? If this is you, please book in. I will pop a link below. Book in for a free call. It doesn't need to be this hard, and it doesn't need to be this stressful and scary. So on that note, I hope you've enjoyed this short episode, and I will chat to you very soon. Take care, guys. See you later.